posted a short last week, early last week. I had this homeowner, we came out here a couple of times for an intermittent issue with clicking, chattering, only at night. It wouldn't do it during the day. But go back and watch that short, and I'll put the link to it down in the description. But what I found was the contactor, or the low pressure switch, was intermittently going in and out, and it would just suddenly start chattering. And this particular pressure switch breaks common to the contactor. Your high pressure switch and your temperature switch here break wire. The low pressure switch breaks common to the contactor. So you watch that short, this thing was, I was wiggling it, and it was going in and out, in and out, in and out, basically causing that contactor to chatter. There's no time delay on this, so you break wire, connect wire, it comes right back on. There's not a time delay on these units. So it was just out here clicking, click, 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 click. And it would do it at night. They would hear it. I think their master bedroom, as a matter of fact, is right there. But during the day, it would do fine. And we came out here a couple of times and it ran fine. I came out here and I just started wiggling this pressure switch, and I was losing it, and it was chattering, clicking out. So we're going to replace this switch. I don't know. I tried to back this off that day, and I got pretty high on there. So I don't know if there's a Schrader core in there. I'm hoping there is. But I unscrewed this thing pretty high. I always check that before I come back to do the repair, whether or not I need to put a T-fitting over here, which is what I'm going to do. If there's not one in here, I'm going to try to take that off again and see if it'll come off. Hopefully there's a Schrader core in here and we can get it replaced. I'm going to replace the core and the pressure switch. But I had to get a universal one. It's a 40 cut out, 65 cut in. Trane couldn't get one. They didn't have any of our suppliers. We use D&L here in North Carolina. I don't know who you other guys use, but anyway, they didn't have one. Check factory didn't have them. This is a 12-year-old package unit. I mean, you think you could get a pressure switch, right? So anyway, I just got a universal one. This thing's been running since last Tuesday with it bypassed, and he hasn't had any more chattering, any more noise whatsoever. So I'm pretty sure I've got it right. We just got to replace it, and I'm gonna put this universal one in. So of course this is a package unit, and there's always damn mud from where it's draining. And I mean, run it out there, but then neighbors complain because these houses are real close together. I mean, it is what it is. Dig this out, put some rocks in here, make a French drain or something somewhere for that water to go, but it is what it is. So let's see if we can get this thing replaced without adding a T over here. Hopefully there's a Schrader core in there. But you want to backstop these on the bottom when you're trying to turn them, tighten them, loosen them, so you don't snap that fitting off. I've done that before on my old outdoor Trane condenser, trying to get the metal cap off of it, and it was on there so tight, and I popped it and it snapped right off. So you want to be careful when you're doing that. So we're going to backstop it, which it should be. I broke it free last week. There we go. So let's see if this thing's got a Schrader core in it. I hope it does. See, it's still wanting to hiss. I'm scared to take that thing off. I don't know if I can put my thumb on that. There's what, about 190 PSI behind this thing. I don't know if there's a Schrader core on there. Let me come up with an idea. So I just don't trust that there's a Schrader core in that thing, and I've had it happen on a couple of XV systems, replacing the suction pressure transducer and get the thing screwed off, and then it fly off and there's no Schrader core in it and the whole charge dump. I've had it happen to me once, and it was down inside the unit trying to get in there to that, and there was supposed to be Schrader cores in there. But it's happened a couple of times over the last 10 or 15 years that there wasn't one, and I just don't. Quality control, should have been one put in there, but I just don't trust it. I don't want to dump the charge out of this thing. I don't want to burn my hands up with the refrigerant. I'm just not going to take a chance on it. This is 12 years old. We're trying to do this repair without recovering the system to save them a little bit of money, without having to pay for all the filter dryer replace, all the process that goes through with a sealed system repair. If we can just put one on. So I'm going to put a T over here and put the new pressure switch there. Because I am putting a new pressure switch in this with that T fitting, I am going to go ahead and replace this Schrader core as well. I just want it to all be new components. I don't want that to be a problem. I'm not 100% positive. I'm sure it was the pressure switch. I don't know that the core valve would have caused that to happen, but better safe than sorry. So I'm gonna see if I can replace the Schrader core as well and see how well this thing works. And I'm coming up with it, so hopefully I can grab hold of it and pull it out. I'm gonna do it easy. I don't want the refrigerant to pop it up and the thing vibrate off and slam. Yep, I got it right there. It's coming out. There we go. Real easy. Close that thing off. And there should be a Schrader core. Yep, there it is. Right there. So we're going to put a new one in. Then we're going to put that pressure switch in. Get it wired up. This field piece core tool works pretty good because the top of this is beveled a little bit and it actually snaps into that hole that's in there. That doesn't work very well with the Appion. See how it hangs on there? You just snap that thing up in that hole. And we'll get it in. Get it screwed back on. There we go. Open that back up. Push that in there. I hate working with, that's why I wear fingerless gloves all the time. Trying to grab something with your fingers and the tips of your gloves getting caught. All that mess. I mean, it's good for protection. That's why I'm wearing them now, because I thought I was going to try to take that switch off. Okay, so that's in there. Let's make sure it's tightened properly with my little tool here. Yep, snapped. So that's in there properly. Put this T on, and the T is going to give me a place where we can still check our pressures. We'll still be able, the pressure switch will be on one, but I'll be able to still hook up and check pressures on a service call or something like that. So there's my backstop. Just got to make sure this is a flare lock so there's not an O-ring in there, so I'm going to make sure it's on there tight, but I got to make sure it's turned the right way so that when I tighten it, it doesn't stick this way because the door won't go back on. Alrighty. We'll spray that with some bubbles in a minute, make sure it's not leaking. But now I can put my hoses on one place and that pressure switch on another. Alright, so let's get this on, and then I'm assuming I'm going to have to put a wrench right there to backstop that so I can tighten that, because it also flare locks as well. lifting up with my hand. And grab this right there. And give this a good tighten. Back and just trying to clamp the flat sides of this pliers wrench, but just want to make sure it's good and tight. And like I said, I'm going to check all that. I'm going to put my cap on there. So now I've got somewhere I can check the pressures on the system, and pressure switch isn't going to be a problem. Let's get it wired up. So this old pressure switch is staying in here. I'm just going to cut these wires off. There's no power there. It's just there to keep that hole plugged, basically. And then we are going to, where I had it bypassed, wire this one in, and I'm going to use some butt connectors. I don't know. I'm not using a wire nut on this. Wires off. And we're gonna strip that back. Strip that back. Do the same thing here. So I'm basically just going to use these little male and female butt connectors. I don't have two blue and I don't have two yellow, so we're going to have one yellow and one blue. And leave your comments in the bottom about what you think about me not matching colors. I look forward to not reading them. Anyway, one there, and then we're going to take another one. We'll put the female side over here. No, I was just joking. I'll read them. I'll laugh at them if they're stupid. But anyway, but I'll send you a thumbs up and a like because I appreciate you giving me your feedback. So there we go. One connected there. And we will use yellow on the other one. And these yellow ones are a little thicker, so I like to strip this back. Or they're for larger wire, so I like to strip these back on a small wire and then just fold it over, just to make it a little bit larger to go up in that hole. That's what she said, isn't it? Oh, that one on there, real good. And then the other one on there. This is probably boring, but I like to film the whole thing just to be up front. There's some editing because I don't think any of you guys want to sit and watch an hour and 15-minute video. So I'll put this one together. And we're all set. So when I go put that wire back together, this thing should come right on. And there we go. And I'm going to replace this wire nut because it doesn't seem to want to tighten. I'll get to that later. No sense on wasting video footage on a wire nut. Most of you should know how to do that, but anyway, so that's what the problem was. It was just intermittent chattering on that contactor. This pressure switch was going in and out, open, close, so got a new pressure switch in it. That's just a way you can change a pressure switch without having to recover the system. Now a lot of units it brazes in, so you don't have a choice. These don't, so you do have an option. I just wasn't comfortable. I had this thing backed way off and it was still hissing pretty good. Usually it gets quieter. It wasn't, and I didn't want to take the chance of pulling that thing off and there not being a Schrader core in there. So anyway, that works perfectly fine. Unit 12 going on 13 years old. Warranty is expired on it, so this saved him a lot of money doing it this way as opposed to recovering the system to take all that apart and deal with that. So anyway, appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.